Like, I'm like, let's leave in the silliness.
Yeah,
Unless
let's
it
leave in
gets,
the silliness. There's a cop
it's,
car outside. It's
I'm
fine.
like, this is real journalism right here.
Real,
So
real.
welcome to Narratives and Nightcaps, books, beverages, and author conversations. I'm Bree, always ready to dive into new fantasy worlds and take a step back in time.
I'm Megan, part critic, always team physical copy, and forever chasing good thrillers and a great plot twist.
I'm Emily, your resident mood reader who thrives on chaos questions and lively book chats.
And I'm Jordan, equal parts heart, humor, and high-functioning caffeine addict. I come with coffee in hand, wine on standby, and a Gilmore Girls quote for every occasion.
Cheers.
Cheers!
Welcome back to Narratives and Nightcaps. Her debut romance, It's Different This Time, was an instant bestseller in 2025. This year, she's bringing sex, rom-com nostalgia, and a risky workplace romance above the fold. Today, I am so excited to chat with Joss Richard about Let's Kiss and Tell. Hi, Joss.
Hi, Bree. How are you?
I'm so happy to be talking with you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so happy to be back. We had a really interesting first recording. There was a lot going on.
It was an experience. We made the best of it, I would say.
It was still fun. We still connected, you know?
Oh, absolutely. And it was still good. It was a very, for people that you don't even have to podcast, you know this. We were in a large ballroom, if you didn't listen, and there was air that was making the chandeliers clink, and there are people walking around. Yeah. It was interesting.
Yeah, it was a really nice hotel, but it was one of the ballrooms. We were there for a book convention, and it was a weird time because I think we recorded an hour before the marketplace was opening, so all of the booths around you were setting up. So it was a little noisy.
It was a little noisy. It was a little distracting.
But it was great. You were a pro.
But so were you. I will say it was still so much fun, and had the best time at that romance convention. It was so great to meet you and so many other authors. I have amazing memories. How have you been since then? What have you been up to since February?
February? Is that it? It feels like that was a year ago. That's scary. Well, since then, I feel like I've done a lot because It's Different This Time was chosen for a short list for this wonderful Canadian show. So I was back and forth to Canada for a lot of the spring, like winter and spring. And now I'm focusing on marketing Let's Kiss and Tell. So yeah, it just feels like I've been go, go, go. So that's why it feels like that was a year ago. But no new book since February, and book to come.
We have to talk about that. Okay, so you live in California now. Do you miss Canada, or do you get to visit enough that you kind of scratch that itch whenever you're feeling like you need to get back?
I've lived here for 10 years now, which feels crazy because I think COVID took a few of those years. But I actually am there a lot more now that I'm an author because I do a lot of events there, and it forces me to go back and be with family. Whereas before, when I was working and I had vacation, the last place I wanted to go was go home. Like if I had vacation, I wanted to go somewhere on vacation. So now it's really great. I go there a lot, but I do miss it. I like being with my friends and my family, but I don't like the weather.
That's what kind of popped in my head because I'm in Iowa for work, but this is also where I grew up and where I'm from and live in Florida. And that's the first thing people always ask me. They're like, do you miss the weather? Which I will say I actually do. So I'm the opposite because I love snow.
Okay. Do you like snow to live in, or do you like going home for the holidays and it's snowing? Because I think those are two different things.
Honestly, a little bit of both. I definitely miss it. I miss seasons. What if I say that? I
do too.
Seasons. I like the change, but the cold doesn't bother me too much. My husband and I went to Canada for Christmas in 2024. It was a couple years ago. And it was frigid. It was so cold, but it was exactly what I wanted for the holidays. And there were the Christmas markets happening, and it was so nice. So I miss it. All that said, would I move back? I don't know. I don't know.
Same. I don't mind the cold. It's the gray that comes with it. You know, if it was sunny and cold, I really don't mind, but I just feel like I get seasonal depression. This sounds crazy because I know so many people live on the East Coast and deal with this, and I used to live there. I think I've just been very spoiled living in California where it is sunny every day.
That's true. And well, when we were in San Diego, I mean, we landed and I was like, oh, this is exactly what everyone talks about, in that it is perfect out. It's the perfect temperature.
And it's not humid.
No. It was so nice.
Yeah.
Well, before we go much further, I would love to know what your beverage pairing is for us today. What is your nightcap?
Okay, so I have one that I actually have with me right now, and it is different than one that I feel like would complement the book. So
Let's do both.
I'll name both. Okay. So the one that would complement the book is definitely an iced oat milk latte. It's Lucy's favorite drink. Right now, you're going to think I'm crazy. So I recently tried Diet Coke. That's what's happened since we've met.
This is a new development. You've never had Diet Coke before?
I've never had Diet Coke before this year. So not only do I now love Diet Coke, I love dirty sodas. So what I have done is I have a Diet Coke in my glass right now, and I just put a little bit of white chocolate raspberry creamer. It's insane, but it's so delicious.
Okay, I haven't had that specific concoction, but I'm so happy for you. What a life-changing milestone.
Oh, life-changing for sure. It has its pros and cons.
I don't know the last time I had a Diet Coke, because I used to be a bit of an addict when it came to Diet Coke.
Okay, how bad were you? Because I am drinking it every day.
Well, that's where I was at. And I was very specific. So it had to be a fountain Diet Coke. And I tended to have cup and ice preferences. And
Pebble ice?
Yep. It was a lot of weight to put on myself and others. And so at some point, like, I don't even remember, it's been a long time, but there are some days where I just have to have it. And the hit of a Diet Coke,
Unlike anything else.
it's unmatched.
I was a coffee addict. So I would have probably 4 or 5 cups of coffee in various forms a day. Morning coffee, iced coffee before lunch, and then another iced coffee in the afternoon, like constantly. And now it has been replaced with Diet Coke. And I'm wondering, is one really better than the other? Probably coffee's better than Diet Coke.
We've flipped, because now I'm 3 to 4 coffees a day.
I feel like I'm trying to justify my actions here. You know, coffee is probably better than Diet Coke because there's not chemicals in it.
Okay, but was your order like Lucy's? What was your order like?
Yeah, it was just an oat milk latte, simple.
Which is healthy in my book. I'm like, oh, that's so healthy. She's simple.
We were like, you're having like frappuccinos every day and like caramel macchiatos.
And not at all, but I did. Oh, we were just talking because I told, like, traveling, all this, and we went through a Starbucks, and I am obsessed with their iced horchata, shaken espresso, whatever it is. I think it is delightful. One of the greatest drinks. Is it too expensive? Yes, it is very, very expensive, but because normally I am just an iced latte with like a splash of cream, sometimes a splash of oat milk. It just depends on how my tummy's feeling.
Totally.
That's normally how I am, but this iced horchata is like, it's my dream. It's so good. I just can't spend it, but we're traveling for work, and so I felt like I deserved it.
You know what? There's a hack. I'm gonna send it to you, but you can order an iced Americano or something like that, and then do like like a splash of horchata syrup with milk, and it'll be cheaper than
That
the order that they present
the
on the
menu
menu.
item. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Please send it to me because
I will.
I do need that.
I will.
Well, in the midst of trying Diet Coke, having that change your life, and traveling to Canada, what is the last book you read that you can't stop thinking about, can't stop talking about? What was it?
Oh, I would say, have you read Emma Brody's Into the Blue?
I haven't, and it is so far, it is at the very top, the tippy top of my TBR, if you will, because I want to read it so badly.
It's Oh my God, sorry. Um, I hit my mic, everyone. I'm sorry. Um, it is unlike anything I've ever read before. Her brain is incredible. I was so fortunate to be her conversation partner when she came to Los Angeles. And when the opportunity was presented to me to be her conversation partner, I had zero reference of what this book was about. They brought it to me before the book came out, of course, so I read an advance copy, and I just kind of went in cold because there weren't really any reviews for it or anything like that. So I went in cold and I was just floored. It is an incredible story. It's not romance with a capital R, but it is, and that's not, I won't give any spoilers, but it's marketed as fiction but with a love story as opposed to romance. But it is definitely a love story.
I have seen a lot of people crying on the internet over it. Were tears shed? Am I going to be emotionally devastated?
I think so, but it's worth it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. I just have to do it at the right time and space them out a bit.
Yeah.
I earlier this year, and by early, I mean at the very beginning of the year, I read Heart the Lover by Lily King.
Oh, yeah.
And that one, it wrecked me. It wrecked my heart and soul on an airplane, next to a kind older man who didn't sign up for that day when he boarded that
Oh
flight.
no. Whoa.
And I had a full breakdown. So I have to be very careful about when and where I read those, but I'm desperate to read that book.
It's really good. And I have yet to read Lily's book. I have it, but I'm afraid. I'm afraid.
It's worth it. Just like you said,
Yeah.
it's so worth it, but oh, it crushed me. I think about it every week.
Oh gosh. Okay. Okay. Maybe I'll have to. Maybe not because I'm about to go on tour. So I need to be in the right headspace. You know.
Yes, and also you're going to be traveling a lot. I wouldn't recommend if you're going to be on an airplane.
Yeah.
Or you could start it, but if you know you're getting toward the end, yeah, save it.
Yeah.
Save it for a rainy day.
Okay. I'll do. Oh, like a rainy day, and I'm just like cozy in my feels. Yeah. I'll do
That's
that.
perfect. That's perfect. Okay. I am absolutely honored to be talking with you again, and so glad you wanted to come back. And over the course of your career, though, you have interviewed some of Hollywood's most famous, some incredible people. You don't necessarily have to name names, but I'm so curious about like what stands out to you as one of your most memorable moments.
Oh gosh. Two. Well, I'm a really big Sound of Music fan. So I was able to interview Christopher Plummer, and I was also able to meet Julie Andrews. So I would say those two, hands down.
Joss, you give me full body chills.
I have multiple Sound of Music tattoos, and I stood there like a crazy person and showed Julie Andrews every single one of my tattoos. I held her hostage and showed her my body.
And she was probably a delight.
Oh,
And
she was so gracious. She was like, her hands were on her face the entire time. I have a photo of it, and she was just like, "Oh, that must have hurt so much." I was like, "No, it was worth it, Julie. It was worth it."
Oh my gosh. She's just such a perfect human. Oh,
She's so wonderful. And Christopher Plummer was one of my very first interviews when I was starting. So it was very scary, but he was so kind.
that's amazing. Well, who is there someone that you, and it could be a celebrity, an author, anybody that like if you had the opportunity to just totally pick that you could interview, be in conversation with, chat with briefly, who would you want to meet?
Gosh. Okay. So I have a I have a crush on an actor. Wait, do you hear that?
I
Cock.
do.
I'm so sorry. I wanted to be mindful.
Just, like I'm like, let's leave in the silliness
Yeah,
unless
let's
it
leave in
gets
the silliness. There's a cop
it's
car outside. It's
I'm
fine.
like, it's this is real journalism right here.
Real,
So,
real. Whoever's listening, you are here in the room with us. Bree and I are not in the same room, but you are in the room with us, the virtual room. But okay, so I have a celebrity crush on the most. I have been told it's a very random crush, and it's someone that you probably would never expect. Maybe you don't even know. But are you familiar with Walton Goggins? Do you know who that is? He was in Fallout, which is a new show. He was in Righteous Gemstones.
I
He's
know
like,
Fallout.
oh, you know Fallout. Okay, he's
I
the
know.
ghoul.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's the ghoul. And I actually think he's hotter as the ghoul. But I have a really big crush on him, and he is just this really brilliant actor. He's actually been in a lot of stuff that I have watched since Fallout, and he seems like a very fascinating person, and I would love to talk to him.
What would be like your first question?
Oh my gosh. I think it would just be, I don't know. I'd love to know because he was working for, I want to say 20 years until Fallout. And after Fallout, he sort of hit this level of fame because then he was in White Lotus after. And he was just like in all of these things. So I would love to know how you stay motivated working for so long. Because, like, I assume anyone working is waiting to hit that level, like, that he just did. So it's like, how do you keep working for 20 years? And, like, how do you know when it's, like, time to give up? Or, like, are you just accepting that, like, you're just going to be a working actor? So I find that, like, really fascinating, people that hit a career milestone later in life.
That's such a good question. I love, well, that's one of my favorite things. And maybe I sound like a broken record on the podcast, but I'm always so curious when I talk to, well, one, I love getting the backstory from like every author because nobody had the same exact journey or like inspiration or it always looks so different. And I think that's so interesting. It's fascinating. It's so cool just about like the craft of writing and having your career be an author.
Yeah.
But similarly, when I talk to people who are like, oh, and I wrote 10 manuscripts for over 20 years before I really, I love to, I'm like, it's such a testament to like their strength and their perseverance and their love of the craft and of storytelling and messaging. But it's so cool to get everybody's unique perspective on that too.
Yes, absolutely. I love hearing people's journeys, how they got to where they are.
Completely. What is the weirdest question you've been asked in an interview or a conversation?
Oh, I don't know if there's been anything where I'm like, why did you ask me that? I will say I'm not a big astrology person, and I do get a lot of astrology questions, like about either my astrology or like my character's astrology, which I'm sorry, I don't put that into consideration when I write my characters. You know what I mean? So those are ones like I just don't know how to answer, but they're not weird.
No astrology questions today. Here's what I know. I'm a Virgo.
Love. And
That's all I've got.
Virgo, that's September?
It is.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's like I don't know. I don't know what the qualities of Virgo are.
I'm a Virgo. I can tell you that when things come across my desk on social media about Virgos, I tend to fit them to a T. So I'm in that box, I would say, for the most part. For
Yeah.
other, but otherwise, like I can tell you, I had like amazing friend who actually does, and she was like, okay, what time were you born? Are you a Saturn rising, a Gemini moon? And I was like, I have absolutely no idea what you're saying.
No, I truly do not know. I just learned my birth chart like the other day because everyone was posting those do you call them like Pantone? Those like colors? Is that how you say it? Like the palettes. Have you been seeing that on Instagram?
I feel like
Everyone
I've seen a couple.
Yeah, I feel like it's a trend right now where people are
Yeah.
posting their colors and I wanted to do it, so I had to find out my stuff. So, yeah.
Did you learn anything interesting?
I mean, I'm a Gemini sun, a Capricorn moon, a Leo rising, and a Gemini Venus. Take with that what you want, but I just know that when I say I'm a Gemini, people are like, "Oh."
I all I think about right now is Olivia Rodrigo.
Is she a Gemini, or is there a song about a Gemini?
Her song, one of her new songs, doesn't it talk about that? I don't know the lyrics off the top of my head, but her newest album, that's like all I think about.
I'm sure you're right. I feel like an old lady right now.
Um, I am not gonna lie, I am probably too old to listen to her music, and but
No,
that
I love
album
her
came out.
music.
I was
I
like,
do love her
this
music.
album is a bop. I was like, I'm so here for this.
I love her. I love Sabrina Carpenter.
Same.
Love Sabrina Carpenter. You're kind of giving Sabrina Carpenter with your new hair.
Thank you. As we walked into this Airbnb today, we were singing house tour.
Love, as you should.
It's what you do. It's what
Yeah.
you do.
Absolutely.
I was so curious, what is your comfort rom-com to watch?
Ooh, to watch. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Which brings us perfectly because Joss, this book it's so How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days coded 100%.
Thank
So what, for everyone listening, and it's not out just yet, what is Let's Kiss and Tell all about?
So my favorite question to explain the book. Let's Kiss and Tell is about a sex columnist, Lucy, and a news writer, Marshall, who both have cynical views on relationships, and in order to help themselves professionally and personally, they decide to be in a fake relationship.
We love it. It's got the workplace romance, the fake relationship, all those things that we love. There's so much I want to say because I just adored this story, and
For reading.
oh my goodness. I thank you. I'm so honored that I was able to read an arc of this, and then I couldn't stop talking about it to people.
Oh my God,
Um,
thank you.
I was just like, I even like not to keep plugging him, but my husband is probably tired of me talking about how much I liked your book.
I think that's the biggest compliment because if I really like a book, if I really like it, I will tell my husband about it.
Yes.
Because like I like a lot of books, but I don't tell him everything I read. But if it's like, oh, I need to talk to someone and he's obviously home, then I think that's how he knows or how I know it's like a book I really like.
That's so true. Because I will say, he normally is like, oh, like, what'd you read? And I'll say, like, oh, I like this. And he might be like, what'd you think about it? And it's a quick answer. I have a distinct conversation that I remember having with him in depth about it. And then I was like, and I met her. And he's just like, you're such a nerd. And I was like, yeah, but like, I love it. Okay, well, before we get into all that and my embarrassing, well, it's not really embarrassing, but my slight confession that I have to tell you,
Yeah.
I want to know, like, what was the inspiration for this story and for Lucy and Marsh in particular?
So it's interesting because it's different this time, which is my debut. That was a one book deal. So after I finished It's Different This Time, I went to look for an agent, and then after an agent we tried to find an editor. So there was like a good chunk of time in between me finishing writing it and selling it, and immediately I started writing another story. which is not Let's Kiss and Tell. So I was writing a different story, and then when it was finally time to pitch a second book, my agent knew I was writing another story, and she's like, okay, let's pitch it. And it felt tonally very similar to It's Different This Time. And when you're writing a book and editing it, you spend so much time with these characters and reading it over and over again. It felt I was more so like, I just need to step away from like a big sweeping romance. I wanted something more fun, more sexy, something tonally very different. So I was like, I need to come up with a new idea for a book. And I didn't have one. But as I was trying to come up with something, I was thinking of rom-coms that I loved, and How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days is my favorite rom-com. And I didn't want to do a remake or anything of that, but I thought, why do I like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days? And I liked the workplace-ish romance. And I liked the power imbalance between Kate Hudson and Matthew McConaughey. And I liked how they were a couple, but not really a couple. So I was like, okay, I think I need to come up with like a fake dating type of trope. And then Lucy is very much inspired by Andy Anderson and like Carrie Bradshaw, like being a sex columnist. And it made sense for Marsh to be the complete opposite, but in the same world, which is a news writer. So I think just like all those things together, that's how I came up with Let's Kiss and Tell.
I loved it though that they have these similar careers, but at the same time they're very different, and they both have a totally different approach to how they go about what they're going to write and where it's coming from. It was so fun and well, also just very realistic. Like I had a very brief career in journalism, and so it made me think so much about that and like what was my approach to writing stories or pitching stories, all of that. It was so fun to read that and get both of their perspectives.
Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy that as someone that was in that world, you're like, okay, yeah, like I see this, I connect.
It was, I mean, it was a short time, so like it was not great. It wasn't crazy, but I really that maybe it sounds simple when I say it out loud, but it was so easy for me to think about that because Marsh is he's facts-based. Like he's a news writer, so that's what he's looking for. And when Lucy's talking about how she is approaching everything from feeling first, it has totally shifted how I want to think about like storytelling. And so I think about her a lot too. And I'm like, okay, but pull in the feeling. How are we feeling about this? How does this make us feel? What's the emotion tied to it? It's so good.
That is the best thing I could ever hear. Oh my gosh.
Well, like I said, I loved it, but it was fun for so many different reasons. Another one being like it's not just a romance. The romance is there. There's spice. You talked about how she's a sex columnist, but the sex is there. Like there are multiple layers to all of it, to Lucy and her character and her emotions, how she supports Marsh with the story that he is working with, the project he's working on. And we love a steamy scene. We love romance literature, but is it ever hard for you, or was this story in particular like ever hard for you with all of the layers and the subject of sex and the context that you have included in this?
Very hard. It was hard to a point where I was thinking of scrapping her being a sex columnist and him being a news writer altogether, because I think when you choose like polarizing careers like that, where I mean, a sex columnist, there's no way I can have her be a sex columnist and we're not talking about sex all the time. And I can't have him be a news writer and not address the state of the world. And then the Venn diagram between a sex columnist and a news writer is sex work. So I think that there were so many things that were possibly controversial to some people. I mean, I luckily haven't come across anyone saying like, oh, like this was too much for me, or if so, like no one's told me directly, but I did worry that it would be too much for a second book or even for a romance, honestly. Because I feel like there's so much that I have to say about sex positivity and sex workers and the state of the world that I felt like people would pick it up and say, like, this is not what I want in a romance. I was very, very worried.
So, what made you keep going? What made you push through that then and push through any of the hesitations or the doubt that you had about it?
Well, what's funny is that I didn't have a doubt when I came up with it. It was in the middle of it. And the reason for that is because I was in edits right when It's Different This Time came out. And I think it was a lot of readers' perspectives and feedback in my head. A lot of people love June and Adam from It's Different This Time. And it's very much like a sweeping love story. And Let's Kiss and Tell is not. I wouldn't say it's sweeping. I would say it's a very like real, messy love story, right?
I agree with which I like that. I mean, that was actually one thing that not to just keep, but I like that because I love sweeping love. Well, look, I like to read. I like a lot of different books, but at the end of the I appreciate a story with very messy characters because I think that, well, I'm a messy person. I think that people in general are very messy.
Yeah.
And so there's a relatability factor to it that we can see. I think it brings about a lot of perspective too. But I hear you too in that thinking of other books. I know that not everybody feels that way.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
But,
Well, no,
like,
you're right. You're right. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that, look, I love a messy character too. I am also messy. And I know that this may be a little bit of a spoiler, but you get to see these two characters with people that aren't each other. And I think that's also something that you don't see a lot of in romance. It's usually like, no, like the female main character and the male main character are meant to be together and they're only going to be with each other. So I think that was also an interesting decision that I made.
no, but I mean, I think it's unique too. And well, look, I've been with the same guy since I was 20 years old. So, like,
I love that. No,
and
I love that.
yeah. So, like, and he's the best. But I appreciate it from a storytelling perspective too, and know that like there are plenty of other people out there that can look at this and find relatability, and it's unique too. And I don't know, I appreciated all of that and just so much of the conversation that it brought to sex and your autonomy and
Yeah.
sex positivity, and sex work too. Like it was just like I said, so many different layers to it that I found really refreshing.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you. And yeah, that's what I wanted. And ultimately, I mean, to answer your original question, the reason I decided to keep them as a sex columnist and a news writer was because I had to teach myself, and everyone says this, that you have to write for yourself and not necessarily write for your readers. So I had to remind myself there's a reason why I came up with this idea. It's because I wanted to read a story like that. So I had to learn how to sort of drown out the noise and just write the story that I wanted to ultimately read.
that would be really hard. I just like tip my hat to you because yeah, as a people pleaser, attempting to be a recovering people pleaser, I would find that really challenging too. So that I'm so glad that you like stuck to it and listened to your own voice and what you wanted it to be too. So that's amazing. My confession.
Yes, I was wondering. I was like, is you being in journalism the confession? I wasn't sure.
No, not that excited. And honestly, this is gonna be so anticlimactic. Okay, when we talked in February, I was like, so tell, and I hadn't read it yet. I was like, what scene are you most excited about? And you go, there's a car scene. And Joss, I was so confident. I was like, oh, I know exactly what that's gonna be. Duh. Like, I know exactly and I'm gonna keep it totally spoiler free. I'm not gonna say like anything that happens. But in my head, I was just like, yep. And I bet I know where this is going to go. You didn't go in that direction. You went in a different direction. I was so surprised, pleasantly surprised. Like I was like so excited and I was blushing so freaking hard.
Oh my
I was
God.
like kicking my feet and also laughing at myself because I was like, Bree, you know it all. This is I was like, she totally kept you on your toes. So that's my confession.
Wait, I forgot that I said that. Oh my gosh. No. See, I would think the same thing too without context. I'd be like, oh, yeah. I know what you mean. A car scene. Okay, great. I'm so happy that you love that scene. It was one of my favorite scenes to write.
Was it? Okay, what was the hardest scene?
The hardest scene? Oh, it was. You know what? I think if anyone were to read it, they wouldn't think twice. But for me, it was there's a scene where Marsh is interviewing Lucy to be in his piece. He's interviewing her as an expert about sex work. And that was the hardest because I had to be equally unbiased because she was giving an unbiased opinion, but I was like, she would also be pro, she'd be like sex positive about it, but I also didn't want to write anything that was, not factually true. So it was a lot of research and a lot of like I had a sensitivity reader read it. Like I was just very worried when I was dealing with any of that or anything with the OnlyFans, anyone on OnlyFans. Like those were the scenes that were very hard for me.
I was actually wondering that what level of research went into it because I felt that as a reader and if it was me, I would definitely want to do the same too. I guess if it's even easy to explain, what did that process really look like?
Yeah, I interviewed sex writers, I interviewed news writers, I interviewed women on OnlyFans because I was just really mindful because also in real time I was seeing the impact of It's Different This Time and how people like really like they'll like annotate what you write. They'll like pull quotes. You know what I mean? Like people are really reading these books. So I was like, oh, this is not just like, this is real. This is not me just like writing something and hoping someone will read it. Like people will read this book and I wanted to make sure it was properly portrayed. So yeah, I had to make sure I did my research.
That's incredible though. I mean, do you feel like I'm like, what do you feel? What was your biggest takeaway from writing this book, putting this story together?
Gosh, I think I've learned two things. One, as a whole, is just about myself as a writer. I learned to have confidence in myself because I always thought of It's Different This Time as sort of a fluke or that I got lucky, right? Because you just never know with your debut. You're like, this could never happen again. Or, I just got lucky and wrote something that connected with someone. And I had to take myself seriously as an author when I wrote Let's Kiss and Tell, which was, like I'm not good at taking compliments and stuff like that. So that was a little tough for me. But then when it comes to love, I learned that a love story does not have to be big and sweeping and be told across 12 years, and they don't have to be each other's soulmates. You can still have a very beautiful love story with people that are scared or people that might have a happily ever after for now, even though I don't think they're having a happily ever after. But like I think it's very normal and realistic to enter a relationship and being like, this is the best decision for us now. I don't know like what'll happen later, but like I love you now. And I think that is something that I learned about a different way you can tell a love story.
I love that. I think that's such a good reminder for me and for hopefully a lot of other readers and anyone that wants to write too, that there's so many different versions of what love and romance can really look like.
Yeah. And one of my favorite things is when I look at my characters, I don't know how much you remember It's Different This Time, or if you even read It's Different This Time, but
I have it and I haven't read it yet. But
all good.
I am like
you
desperate to, but
you don't ever have to. You don't ever have to. But also, that's crazy that Let's Kiss and Tell was the first book that you read of mine.
So because we met in February and we talked, and I hadn't had a chance to read either of them, um, which was that was such a different experience for me because every author we interview on this podcast, minus the bonus episodes that happened at Love Lake Con, we always read their book, obviously, beforehand because we're talking about a specific book that's happening. So it was my first time where I'm now sitting down with, I don't even remember, 20 plus people. And I'm like, and
Totally.
I haven't read most of
No, and
these.
how would you?
Yeah. And it was such a relatively last minute thing that got put together too. So it wasn't even a possibility. It wasn't like I had months to to be like, okay, and we're gonna talk to all these people, so let's get a refresher on some of their books. So we met, and then um and we talked, you and I talked about it and everything, and then I got to read Let's Kiss and Tell on NetGalley, which I was like so excited, and I was just like, oh, I'm so excited, like it was so fun to talk to her about this. I can't wait to read it, hear more. And I knew how passionate your readers were about its difference. I knew, like, I'd seen that and I loved that too, and so I was so excited, and then read Let's Kiss and Tell, got your book. You got your first, because I was like, I have to. I'm like, I'm officially a fan. I'm such a fan. But I, look, I think every author is so different, but I love that you're through this process. Maybe I've gained a level of like comfortability with doing something different. It's still in the romance genre, but it doesn't have to be the same story.
Yes. Yes. And oh my gosh, I didn't mean to like call you out for not reading
Okay.
because I was gonna say something about the book, but then I was like, wait, if she hasn't read it, I don't want to spoil it, so I won't say what I was gonna
Okay.
say. But something I like doing, because you know we're just talking about like the different types of love stories, and I even like thinking of like Marsh and Julia's love story, like Marsh's ex, for anyone that hasn't read the book, but obviously it ended because she's his ex. But I also love thinking of like they had a beautiful love story at one point too. And I just think like creating like relationships within books is so interesting because I feel like you can tell so many different stories aside from the two main characters and what love means to other people.
That's so true. Well, and that's part of, I think, the fact that you've given so much thought to even the history of these characters and their other relationships. That is what makes the story feel so real in this instance, too, because we all have that. Like everybody has some sort of history, whether it's an ex or just messy family dynamics, anything like that. Like the depth of the characters just really showed through. And I love that with any author, any book. I'm just like, I love to feel that. Well, one, I'm such a nerd and I like to feel like the characters are like real people.
They are real people.
They are real people 100%. And but you feel that, and then that's why we get so connected to them too.
Yeah. I like thinking you close the book and like they're just gonna go on living
Yeah.
their lives after.
They do. I'm like, and like maybe we'll see them in another life. I don't know, but
Absolutely.
either way, wish them all the best. They're doing great.
Yeah.
Question that I had, we'd like kind of talked about this when we were at Lovelit Con, but I wanted to touch on it more too in case people haven't listened to that quick episode. But if you want to, it's like it'll be a little treat now if you haven't listened to it, just like bonus Joss. Um, Now, over the course of your two books, what would you say you have learned about the romance genre, or really grown to appreciate the genre as a whole?
I think the readers by far are so supportive and they're so loud in the best way possible. To even go to a book convention and just see all of these readers that are so excited to not, and also they're not there to just see one author. Like they are open and they want to meet everyone. When they come up to people's tables, they want to know what these books are about because they're looking for other authors to support. They're looking for other love stories. So I think the readers are incredible, and also the other authors, because I think it's so easy, especially coming from like film and TV as well, to be somewhat competitive. Just because like everyone, if you're like an actress, like everyone's going out for the same role, but with romance, there's sort of space for everyone. And it's really cool to have other romance authors be like, oh, you liked my book? Then you should read this person's book. Like they're just constantly supporting and promoting each other, which is really, really awesome.
It is so cool to see that even from like the podcast space too, or on social media, just as like a reader and I love when I see all of the different authors too that are like commenting and sharing and reposting each other's books and in conversation with one another. And it is in what can feel like social media can feel so dark and scary and overwhelming at times, and to see that community that I do feel like is somewhat unique to the romance genre,
Yeah.
that that authors are so uplifting of one another.
Yes. It's really, really cool. I love it.
I think about that. I was telling you a little bit, like I was talking to an owner of a romance bookstore last night, and even like I see that extend to romance only bookstores, where what could easily become a competitive space between, because they all want a piece of the pie, anything like that, but romance only bookstores seem to be, and I'm sure maybe there are exceptions, they seem to be so supportive of one another too, which is just, it's so cool about the book community too, that's like
I think
we
they
can
just
all,
genuinely want to spread the word of romance, like which is so cool.
it's so cool. It's truly incredible. Okay, you briefly mentioned you have a third book in the works.
I do. I have a third book in the works. I don't know if I can say when
That's
or what it's about, but there will be one.
There will be. Okay, it doesn't even have to be your third book necessarily. Any tropes or themes that you would still like to explore in the future?
I There's two. I would love to do a true like enemies to lovers. I feel like that would be really fun. I'm trying to figure out what that really means in contemporary. I know what it means in like fantasy,
Right.
but like in contemporary, it's like who is your enemy and do you really want to be with them? You know what I mean? But I like the dynamic of two, maybe rivals to lovers. I think that might be better. And I also would love to explore like a marriage in crisis, because I feel like that's something that would be really interesting, where you have two people who can't just break up and they have to work through whatever they're going through. Yeah.
Either, both. I'm in. Just you approach everything with such intentionality
Thank you.
that I'm like, okay, yes, and I'm so in. Well, when you can share more about the actual third one in the works too, we will be so excited to hear more when the time is right.
Oh my God. And well, I mean, I'm just pitching myself, but I would love to come back.
Oh, anytime, just tell me when, and
Great.
we can do this every time.
Please.
As of right now, podcast isn't going anywhere, so
Great. Great, great, great.
so just let me know. I will say there was, what did we post? This was like a while ago, but we had posted something. I think it was like end of last season, or by last season I mean last year, because we don't really do seasons. We just like to churn out episodes every single week for all of the readers and listeners and authors. But we posted something about like last episode this season, and someone did and they were like, "Oh no, like I that's so sad." And I was like, "Okay, wait. That's actually a huge compliment
Yeah, that
that
is.
you feel that way, but also we're not going anywhere, and I'm very sorry that I maybe didn't type that properly."
No,
I'm sorry for the confusion, but we're not going anywhere, but also thank you.
no, that's great, because that means you have people that are waiting for your episodes every week. And I think when you're in like a creative space, you just feel like you're kind of putting it out into the void, and you don't really know like if it's going anywhere, if anyone's listening or reading, or, but people are listening. So thank you for all that you do. And the fact that you take the time to do this every single week is incredible.
Oh, thank you. It's honestly, I feel very honored and privileged that it is what it is and what it has grown into. And whenever it feels overwhelming or scary, I try to like have a really, I don't know, try to shift my perspective on it. Cause I just feel really grateful and never would have seen this coming. Like if you'd asked me 4 years ago if I would be sitting here talking to you for the second time because we met in San Diego, I never would have believed that.
Things happen. I think so much can happen in a year, or in this case, 6 months?
6 months that felt like 3 years.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, well, Let's Kiss and Tell. It releases August 11th. How are you feeling? What are you most excited about? You have book tour coming up.
I'm excited for people to read the book and meet Lucy and Marsh. I'm excited and also scared for tour. I've never been on a proper book tour before, and it's like an extensive one. I'm so grateful and I'm so lucky. But it's going to be a lot of traveling. But I'm also just so excited to meet everyone in person. I love meeting readers in person.
It's going to be amazing. I'm sure it's going to be a lot, but I can't wait to just like follow along and hopefully see you too
Please.
while you're on it. Do you know, I know it's a lot and it's a big tour. Off the top of your head, what are a couple places you're going?
Oh gosh. I mean, definitely, of course, Los Angeles, St. Louis, Indiana, Brooklyn, North Carolina, Orlando. Yeah, like a few places in New York. I go to Canada. I'm everywhere. You can find me anywhere.
All over North America.
Absolutely. Kentucky. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's going to be, I mean, are you going to do anything on your own to celebrate the release?
I think no. My celebration will just be like
A Diet Coke.
Absolutely. A Diet Coke with some white chocolate raspberry creamer.
And that's okay. Just sit back and enjoy it on a nice day. That'll be
Yeah. No, it'll be great.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Well, I'm so excited for you. As soon as we get off, I'm gonna like check my calendar and make sure that I can meet up with you in Orlando because that would be amazing.
So
For
fun.
anybody that for any reason, well, actually, I do know that not everybody that listens is in the US. So for those that need to connect with you online, where is the best place for them to do so?
I am the most active on Instagram. I should stop being so active on Instagram, but I am addicted. But I am at joss.richard.
We can link to that in the podcast notes as well. So it's so easy for them to follow you, connect with you, comment, and tell you how much they love Let's Kiss and Tell when it comes out on August 11th. Joss, this was so, so wonderful to see you again. You always bring so much joy, light, and honesty to this space. I can't wait for readers to also meet Lucy and Marsh and for them to just hopefully escape into the world that you have created for a little while.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your thoughtful questions. Thank you for having me back. And thank you for just doing this for readers and for the romance space.
Oh, well, it's my pleasure. And you're so welcome. And book 3, you'll come right back.
I'll be back. Yes.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening. The Narratives and Nightcaps podcast is a production of The Craft Co. with intro music created by Remington Haynes.
Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow at Narratives and Nightcaps on Instagram or visit our website, narrativesandnightcaps.com.
Sign up for our newsletter to always know what we're reading next, which authors are joining us on the show, and for extra bookish and beverage info.
Connect with our additional co-hosts, Jordan and Emily, as well.
You can find me on Instagram at Cozy Reads and Sips.
And you can find me on Instagram at books.bottles.
Cheers!
Cheers!